Hey gang, I have a story for you here. It's from my local newspaper, and man, I feel really bad for this woman. It, she was traumatized. I'll tell you the story, but the purpose why it was reported reminded me something about the nature of CPTSD trauma, uh, and what distinguishes it from PTSD. I'd totally forgotten. A lot of things I just kind of. It's been 3 years, so as I've moved forward, it's not that I've forgotten. I've moved on to other things, but there was a long time at the beginning when I kept focusing. I mean, there's one of the main thoughts that would ruminate in my mind how this CPTSD was different than people who were perhaps in, you know, car accidents or the military or whatever, and I had forgotten the distinction. But this article I have in my hand here reminded me, because she's trying to get victim compensation for what happened to her. She's obviously traumatized. She can't work. Her life savings have dwindled. She was destroyed psychologically, and she's trying to get compensation, but she hasn't been able to because CPTSD, those traumas, narcissistic abuse, no one else sees it. It's not like that's what distinguishes it. I've forgotten. It's what makes us so much more vulnerable as survivors than other people, because if you had a car accident or you had a military excursion, or someone died in your family or whatever it is, those traumas that result in just regular PTSD, they can usually be understood by a third party. They may not feel it, they may not empathize, they may not even sympathize, but it's easy to explain. Whereas what she has to explain here, I imagine to a lot of people, wouldn't sound that traumatizing. They wouldn't understand how it would just destroy her. I can see how the system may turn its back on her under these circumstances, because if you haven't undergone this kind of trauma and shock and awe, then it's hard to understand. Okay, so I'll read out the article to you. It's maybe 100 or 200 words. Title. Okay, here it goes. For 8 years, Melissa felt like the luckiest woman in the world. Sound familiar? She had a supportive and caring boyfriend who loved her kids, even if they weren't his own. Then she discovered the cameras. They were hidden all over her house, secretly filming every move. Now she's speaking. It was like somebody literally took the carpet right out from underneath us. I can tell you here. So what happened? Discovering the cameras. Melissa's son and his girlfriend discovered the first camera in December, hidden in her bathroom. The young man called her, panicked, telling her to come over immediately. I break down in tears when I read these, man. I remember these things happening to me, man. It's really shocking. Like, it's shocking because he's calling her and he's screaming, come quickly. It's like, but to me, I understand. To a lot of people, understand it really is like, it's earth shattering. But there's other people who may think, well, it's just cameras, it's a boyfriend, you just break up, it's not so bad. But when your whole reality is based on a relationship with somebody, and you think it's on the up and up, and they're good people, and you find out they have serious problems underneath it all, it's like your entire reality is broken. It's broken. Anyways, whew. So her son called her, panicked, telling her to come over immediately. When I got there, they showed me the videos that had been taken in our bathroom of everything. People brushing their teeth, using the toilet, showering, everything. Here's something very brave and very surprising. They decided then and there to go directly to the police. Imagine, they didn't even confront him. Her boyfriend was arrested that same night. 8 years they dated. 8 years. This wasn't like they called the police on a boyfriend of, a few months or a year or two. This was an 8-year relationship. And it's probably because she didn't discover them herself. It's because her son was involved. And it takes more than one to beat a narcissist. Anyways, or a sociopath, whatever this guy is, pervert. Her boyfriend was arrested the same night. But she couldn't shake the feeling that maybe there were more cameras. The next day, she scoured her home and found 9 more devices, as well as a USB key containing edited videos. So he wasn't just filming, he was working with the videos and editing them down and probably sharing them with other sickos. They were of me or my daughter, and there were videos of us dressing or undressing naked in some forms. This guy was filming his girlfriend and his daughter for 8 years. And there were also videos of her and her boyfriend having sex together. Some dated back to 2010 when they first started going out. So he's been doing this from the beginning, the entire relationship. Just like my family and just like my ex-girlfriend and just like so many of you, I'm sure she discovered the entire relationship was based on his perverted needs, his own gratification. Well, maybe not. That's just me being, one-sided, playing black and white. He may have just been a nice guy with a real sick fucking deviance. I mean, that's something I've never really figured out, guys. Is like, if someone is normal in every which way, but they have a perversion, a sexual perversion, that's illegal, like this, and they're obsessed with it. Obviously, if it's illegal and they do it over and over again, they're obsessed with it. Does that make them have a personality disorder, or no? Not really. They can just have a paraphilia, right? I think. I'm not sure about that, because I've seen a lot of videos of people with sexual, dysphorias or problems or issues or extreme attractions or whatever it is, and they all seem to be suffering basically from a damaged object relations. Bonding, childhood bonding was failed or disturbed in some way. From what I understand, personality disorders are the result of this childhood failed bonding, so I don't know. So here's what happened to her, She said the discovery rocked her to the core. For many years, it was difficult for me to function at all. For many weeks, sorry, I'm projecting. For many weeks, it was very difficult for me to function at all. I mean, I had that for 10 months. I was not sleeping. This is hard to read. It brings me back. I was not sleeping. I was not eating. I was not functioning. It really felt like the end of the world. It really felt like the end of the world. I can't believe that people, when I look outside now, I can't believe that this is the same world that existed before everything happened in my life. It still feels like that was the end of the world. When I think about when I was born, I think about being born in 2015. All the rest seemed like a previous lifetime. Consumed by feelings of paranoia, Melissa was unable to work, and she soon used up all her sick leave and vacation days. I felt afraid I felt I didn't know who this person was. I felt I had been lied to, that my family had been used, and it was my fault because I had put them in that position. Her grown kids too were affected. Her daughter worried she would run into the man who had videotaped them, and her son's girlfriend is now obsessed with searching for hidden camera. The guy who discovered the camera, he's obsessed now. Everywhere he goes, he's looking for hidden cameras. The son of a bitch did a lot of damage to this family. Oh my God. Because it was his mother. Melissa's son is struggling the most. She said he enrolled in university at the time of the discovery, but he began to fail and then quit. He can't deal with it. He's undergoing what I went through. When you're undergoing through that kind of trauma, and I guess because he discovered the cameras, it's that first... It's like when I picked up the phone and I didn't discover my brother, but I was the one in my family who got the call. You know, it wasn't like my mother and my father called me. I got the call from my brother's. She was then a widow for the first 5 minutes of her life. So I had to, anyways. So there was a psychological toll. Oh, he considered the son of this woman considered the man to be like a father, and it's very difficult for him, that feeling of betrayal. It's all about betrayal. I heard Gabor Mate say all mental illness underneath is some form of betrayal. Felt. Betrayed by society, betrayed by the body, betrayed by parents, by siblings, by the system, by one circumstance, betrayed by a lot. Anyways. So there was a psychological toll, a financial one as well. She took 3 months off work before returning progressively. She also had to move to a new home. I know exactly what happened. Yeah, she went for she went for compensation. It's only for people who went through some form of physical trauma. So, you know, had he hit her also, she would have gotten it. I guess if you go in the military and you come back with PTSD, you may not be eligible. You have to also have claimed some kind of physical experience, you know, some kind of damage. But what military doesn't come back with? Some kind of hearing damage or whatever. Anyways, is that it? Anyways, the guy's facing many charges. Voyeurism, production of child pornography, etc., etc. You know, nothing... I imagine he's going to get a few years, you know, under 5. Assuming it's his first offense, he'll probably get 2 years less a day. That's usually what they give someone with a first offense that's non-violent. Assuming his daughter was not too young. I mean, if he was uploading pictures of his daughter and his wife to websites, and she was underage, you know, then he'll get 7 years, I would say, 8 years. Anyways, it's not about the sentencing. It's about whether he learned his lesson, and it's too late. I mean, these people are damaged for life. I feel really bad for the son. I hadn't really I hadn't read that about the son. It hadn't got into my head earlier when I read the story. I was thinking about her and the shock she had, but I realized now, my God, the poor guy. Anyways, that's it for now.